Welcome back everyone. Now today I'm going to be cooking aromatic crispy duck wraps. Now it's not the little wraps you get from the Chinese restaurant. I'm doing big wraps. So this is going to serve 4 people for a main course. Everyone will have 2 wraps each and there'll be enough. So first off, here's our duck. Nice fresh duck. That is 2 kilos in weight, and that's going to be seasoned with sea salt, black pepper, some sesame oil and Chinese 5 spice. I'm also going to chuck in a few cloves of garlic. I've got 4 cloves of garlic there. I'm just going to bash them and chuck them in around the outside. And then when we've cooked our duck and shredded it all, there's our wraps. We're going to chop up spring onions. I've got 2 packets of spring onions there. Might not use them all, but it's better to have more than you need. I've got 2 cucumbers, they're not huge ones. And finally, I've got hoisin sauce to drizzle over before you roll the wrap up. So, there's my ingredients. Let's get cooking. So, first of all, check your duck, see if it's got the giblets inside. This one has. I'm going to take those out. There's basically the neck, the heart, liver and stuff like that in there. You can throw them away or make a stock with them. I'm going to put them to one side. Make sure there's nothing in there. Right, now what we're going to do, I'm going to open this duck up. So almost like when you spatchcock a chicken, so that I get more crispy skin that way. If it's opened up, all the skin is facing up. So you turn it upside down, get a very sharp knife, punch it through the back. I'm going to go through a few bones. You can use chef's scissors for this, but if you've got a nice sharp knife, shouldn't be a problem. There we go. So that is what you want. That's how I'm going to cook my duck. So I'm going to place it in a deep roasting tin. You can put it on a rack and let the oil come off, because you're going to get a lot of fat out of this, but I'll just drain it off anyway right at the end. So that's our duck opened up. All skin is now facing up. You can tuck those wing tips down so that they don't burn so much. There we go, they're stuffed underneath. I'm going to get a fork, prick the skin a little bit so the seasoning sort of goes in. There we go. First of all, I've got some pure sesame oil there. I'm going to put a little drizzle of that over. That lovely smell of sesame. I'm going to rub that in to the skin. Then plenty of sea salt all over. Rub that in. It seems like a lot of salt, but that will help the skin go crispy and beautiful. Right, there's our salt. Now our Chinese 5 spice. Give that a sprinkle all over. Probably a couple of teaspoons. We shall add some more of this later after we've shredded it all. Give that a little rub in. You can smell that now. Star anise and everything else that's in there. Just give it a good little sprinkle all over. Make sure it's all coated. And we'll take our cloves of garlic. Just going to give them a little bash. What we're going to do is just throw those in, skin as well, and just leave those in there. They'll all Well, that skin's fallen off. So, let that sit for 10 minutes while we preheat our oven. Now this is going to slow cook for 3 hours, and it's literally going to fall off the bone, and we're going to remove every single bone when it's done. So I'm going to preset my oven to 130 degrees, and I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes, and I'm going to put it in the oven. So there we go. Right, that's been about 10 minutes. My oven is up to the right temperature. As I said, I've got it on 130, depending on your oven, but you want to do it slow and low for 3 hours. So in it goes. Soon you'll be getting beautiful smells coming from your oven. But you've got 3 hours. I'd say for the last half an hour or hour, depending on how quick you can chop, you can prepare your cucumber and spring onions. But until then, there's nothing to do. See you then. Okay, our duck has been in the oven for about an hour and a half so far. What I'm going to do, as you can see, a lot of oils come out of it. I'm going to give it a quick basting. So just spoon the oil all over the duck. So we're about halfway. And give it a good basting all over. It smells lovely already. The house is filled with the smell of 5 spice. Okay. Right. Turn it around. So another hour and a half, and that will be done. So there we go, basted. Right, our duck has got about half an hour left, so it's been in for about 2.5 hours. It's starting to look the part now. I'm going to give it one more basting quickly. A little while ago I washed my cucumbers and I washed all my spring onions, or green onions or scallions, whatever you want to call them. I'm just used to calling them spring onions. They've all been washed. Make sure you rinse right in the tubes of the onions, make sure there's no dirt in there. So that's all been washed. And while this is cooking for the last half an hour, I'm going to start cutting those up. Right, so just half an hour left. Let's get that back in there. There we go. Right, so these are our cucumbers washed. I'm going to cut it in half. You can cut these up any way you want. I know when you get a takeaway, they normally chop them into matchsticks. But I'm going to go down the middle. I'm going to go down the middle again. And I don't know, I'm just going to cut them at an angle like this. Because we're doing large wraps, remember, so we don't need teeny bits of cucumber because our wraps are going to be larger than the usual wraps they use. So I'm just going to cut mine up like that. You know, you can cut it any shape you want. So I'm just going to get on with that. Okay, that's my 2 cucumbers, all nicely cut up. Quite a bit there. If there's any left over, I'll use it in a salad tomorrow. But it's always best to have more than you need, I think. Now, time for the spring onions. What you just do is cut the end off. And I'm going to cut it a similar way, on an angle. Nice and thin. Like this. I said you can do it the other way to make it all stringy like they do on the takeaway if you want. But this is fine. There's one. So I'm just going to carry on and do them all just like that. Right, there's our spring onions. They look lovely, nicely thinly sliced. I'm going to stick those in the fridge in a minute until I need them. The chopping board out of the way. My duck has had 3 hours, just over. I'm not going to baste it again. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice? What I am going to do is pour away the oil into a bowl. I mean, you could use this for doing your roast potatoes. You could save that oil and use it for cooking roast potatoes. It'd be lovely. So, push that to one side, that's very hot. So now we have our duck. I'm going to now cover it over. I'm going to leave it for about 15 minutes just to cool down a bit, because it's too hot to start pulling the bones out. You'll just burn your fingers, and it rest, and then we'll start taking all the bones out. So that's it for now. So our duck's had about 10 or 15 minutes sitting there. What I'm going to start doing now, this takes a little bit of time, is I'm going to remove every bone from this duck. As you can see, the drumstick bone just slid straight out. So you can use a fork, just break it up, scrape it up, however way you want to do it. Basically just remove all the bones. It's going to take a little bit of while, a bit of patience, but it'll be worth it in the end. You'll have a tin full of duck meat, and that's going to go back in the oven with a bit more seasoning to crisp it up slightly. So that's going to take a while. I'm going to get on with that. Okay, at last, every bit of duck is off the bone. There's all the bones left over. Now, when I have my gloves on, I've sifted through this several times just to make sure there are no bones left in there. You don't want anyone to choke on any bones. So just go through it with your fingers, or when you've got gloves, just double check. What we're going to do now, obviously this is like lukewarm now, it's got to go back in the oven. I'm going to go 2 little pinches of salt, not too much because there's salt already on there. We've got some light soy sauce, just a little drizzle, teaspoon, another sprinkling of Chinese 5 spice, probably a teaspoon, and black pepper. Some black pepper on there. Give it a little mix. Obviously all them juices on the bottom, they're all going to be lifted. So, you know, when I pulled the duck off the bone, I made sure all the skin was broken up into little pieces, so the skin is mixed with the meat, the leg meat, the thigh meat. It's all mixed together with little bits of skin. So that's all the flavour. Now, I've got my oven on 180. I'm going to put this back in the oven for about 15 minutes. And then we'll be ready to serve. So 15 minutes on 180. In the meantime, I'm going to put my hoisin sauce in a little bowl for serving and get all my other ingredients back out of the fridge ready. Okie dokie. Turn the oven off. That's had a good 15 minutes in there. You hear it sizzling away. Gonna get, oh look, one more bone. Must have missed that one, see? Right, one final mix. Combine it all. And I've put my wraps in the microwave for 1 minute, the whole packet of wraps, so you don't have to warm them up, but I did that. So I'm going to assemble one of my wraps. So, on the plate, let's get some of our duck in there. As you can see, you can fit more in these wraps than you do in those little thin ones. A bit more, I'd say. Don't want to overdo it because then you won't be able to roll it up. Make sure everyone gets a bit of skin, crispy skin. Beautiful. Right. Some cucumber. Not too much. So about that. Some spring onion. I do love the taste of spring onion. It's such a fresh, nice crisp taste. Spring onion in there. Last but not least, our nice hoisin sauce. A little drizzle of that. Perfect. Right. Now, do that first. And I'm going to go straight over with that side and roll it just like that. Okay. That's our first wrap. I'm going to cut it so you can have a look inside. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. And last but not least, let's not forget, I'm going to be serving this with a nice ice cold bottle of Asahi. Nice fresh crisp beer in a chilled glass. Look at that. Gorgeous. Hope you enjoy it. It smells lovely. Don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next one.